Hey there, Greyhounds, and welcome back from spring break. These are the weekly announcements. If you wish, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you need something read in the announcements? Simply email your announcement to gnn@claytonschools.net before 10 a.m. on Monday to have it announced in the video every Friday. And be sure to stay tuned after the video for a special feature from Liv Tennell. That's all for this week's morning announcements. Thank you for listening. And next we go to Eli for the latest in CHS sports.
Spring sports are in full swing, Greyhounds. I'm here to give you next week's schedule. But first, I'd like to congratulate Michael Filarski for throwing 10 Ks in the baseball team's 6-0 win over Maple and Richmond Heights last Saturday. They look to come back strong again against Eureka and Ladue in a doubleheader. For the rest of the week, we've got a water polo game against Pattonville on Monday, baseball is playing Duchesne, and girls lacrosse is playing Visitation Academy. Tuesday, girls lacrosse is playing Eureka, and boys is playing Westminster Christian Academy in tennis. Wednesday, we got a few games. Girls soccer is playing Afton, boys tennis is playing Lafayette, boys golf is playing in the Clayton Best Ball Tourney, and then varsity girls track and field is participating in the Charlie Finch Invite. Thursday, boys baseball's got a game against Pattonville, girls soccer's got a game against U City, John Burroughs is playing Clayton in golf, or Clayton is playing John Burroughs rather, and then the varsity girls track and field team is participating in the Lady Lions Relay Tournament. Friday is kicked off by a match against Kirkwood in tennis for the boys, a game against Pattonville in girls lacrosse, a game against John Burroughs in water polo, and a game of soccer against Rosati Kane for the girls. Good luck next week, Greyhounds. We'll be cheering them on, and everybody else will be watching on the Instagram and the YouTube.
Happy birthday to those of you who celebrated your birthday earlier this week. Cade Baker, Benjamin Brewer, Sophia Bude, Quinn DePlanty, Nadav Friedman, Macy Garrett, Ava Marsden, Aaron Miller, Finley Naylor, Tyler Schultz, Evan Vallow, Jesse Wang, Sean Winter, and Maxim Yamilov.
Due to pandemic schooling, as I like to call it, last year, as the pandemic was just beginning right around like spring break, the College Board decided to then change the structure of the test, how the tests were going to be implemented, and how much content was going to be on the tests.
They said, well, given what we think you've covered at this point in the year, so after 3-ish quarters of an academic year, you should have gotten through 6 of those 8 units. So on the assessment in May, we're only going to assess those 6 units, not the last 2.
The AP folks basically dropped the multiple choice portions of exams, which are about 2/3 of the score for the exams. And they shortened, or at least they said they shortened, the free response portions.
Certain content and skills that needed to be learned that were for the exam were either modified or omitted completely.
But for this year, they've pretty clearly said that they are not cutting any content out of the exams.
Their rationale, as published, is that last year was a one-off, right? It snuck up on us. We didn't know it was going to happen, and an emergency solution was in order.
There was a lot of hope that the College Board would do some type of modifications to the amount of content that would have to be covered.
Their announcement right before our winter break was, we are going all in with all 8 units of instruction this year. So the exam in May can be expected to cover all 8 units.
Which has kind of created some consternation because we have far fewer days with students, and we have far less time. And of course, cognitively, we know that when brains are under stress, it's harder to learn, it's harder to retain.
by not modifying the test, it can put a lot of stress on students.
With any sort of AP class or with AP material, it requires a lot of time and patience.
You can't cover a curriculum in half the amount of time. You just can't do it. It is impossible. And if you do it, you're sacrificing something.
As a teacher, I feel like I have to cut a lot just because I'm seeing my students a lot less.
What I am curious about, though, is how many students have elected to not take the AP exam.
I think that by not modifying it, you've got kids who are saying, you know what, I don't think I'm really prepared to take the full thing. And so they're opting out.
As a teacher, it's like, oh, I need to make sure the students do really well on this test. They need to do really well on this test because you guys are paying for this test and this is an avenue for you guys to gain college credit. But I often wonder if that's like the best way that we as teachers or the College Board can really assess your guys' skill set and knowledge and depth of understanding.
I think that there's the very real issue that there's a lot of students who have worked really, really hard this year in their AP classes. But this exam won't be a really valid measure of their learning.
And if now you're being exposed and you have less opportunity to practice, I think what the College Board is going to see if they score tests in the same way that they have is a remarkably small number of 5s and 4s, and maybe more 3s, 2s, and 1s than they've ever seen before.
By only allowing one test, I'm not sure that is really understanding how all students kind of are experiencing the pandemic.
I think that they're in an impossible position where they're trying to please so many people. They're not going to be able to make everybody happy.